And here we are, we made it to the last question on our Unit 3 test. So now we got these cube roots. Okay, we already looked at square roots. And up there previously at the beginning of this practice test, we talked about how if you got something that's under a square root, like let's say you got the square root of x equaled 2, and you're trying to get x all by itself and get rid of that square root, what you would do is you would just square the square root, and then x would come out all by itself. That'd be our inverse operation to cancel out the square root. But if we do something to one side, we always got to do it to the other. So I'd have to square 2 as well, the other side of my equal sign. And you'd get 4. And it'd just be one solution, because as mathematicians, we assume that's just a positive square root of x. So now we got the cubed root. It's the same thing. We've just got a 3 instead of a 2. Right up here, there's a 2 here. If you see a radical with no number, it's a 2. And that's why we raise it to the power of 2. But now I got this cubed root down here on number 6. So I've got that x plus 2. It's all stuck underneath my cubed root. So how can I get x plus 2 out from underneath that cubed root? Let's rewrite it down here. I'm going to write x plus 2. It's the cubed root of x plus 2 equals negative 2. So to get rid of that cubed root, what I'm going to have to do is cube this, and then we can get x plus 2 out. But if I cube one side, I got to do the same thing the other. I'm going to cube the other side. So now I've got x plus 2 equals, and what is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2? What's negative 2 cubed? Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Well, we learned in a previous unit that anytime you have an odd exponent, the negative comes out the other side. So it's going to be negative. Negative 2 times negative 2 is, we get positive 4 down here. And then I multiply that positive 4 times this negative 2. I hate that ruler. It's always getting in my way. Go away, ruler. Times negative 2. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get negative 8. The cube root of 2 is 8. The 2 cubed is 8. Negative 2 cubed is negative 8. So here we go. That's that right there. X plus 2 equals 8. Negative 8. And now I got to get that 2. I got plus 2. I'm trying to cancel that out. Maybe we draw a little arrow up here and rewrite this right over here. And then we could scooch this over. Get that out of our way. How am I going to get x by itself? I got x plus 2. I'm going to do the opposite. My inverse operation would be minus 2. If I do something to one side, I got to do it to the other. Guess what? X is looking like negative 10. X equals negative 10. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Not negative 8, negative 10. Let's try that again. We'll circle it. There's the answer for that one. How about this down here? The reason they put this other one here, they want to see if you can realize that, look, this radical is not reaching over that 2 right there. So 2 is not under the cubed root. So we can go ahead and get the 2 over there to the other side and then raise that cube root of x to the power of 3 to get x by itself. So I'm going to rewrite this down here, the cube root of x. Let's try that again. The cube root of x plus 2 equals negative 2. Like I said, we're going to do the inverse operation. How can I kick that positive 2 over there with the negative 2? I'm going to subtract 2 from this side. If I do it to one side, I got to do it to the other. What do we got here? The cube root of x. Getting a little twisted here. The cube root of x equals negative 4. And what do we do here? We're going to raise it to the power of 3 to get out from underneath that cube root. We're going to say, let's cube this right here. And then we got to cube the other side to keep it all nice and even. And x will be out there on its own, walking around free on the streets. What is -4 to the power of 3? -4 times -4 times -4. Well, look at this. -4 times -4 is +4. That's why anything with an even exponent comes out positive, regardless of whether it was positive or negative. But when you got anything with an odd exponent, like 3 here, we're going to multiply that third -4 times the +4 from that square. Guess what we got? Or no, I'm sorry. This was 16. What is going on here? Let's pare that down a little bit here. 4 times 4 is 16, not 4. But it is +16. Times -4, whatever it is, we know that negative is coming out on the other side because of that odd exponent of 3. And 4 times 16 is 64. A quick reminder of how I like to multiply using kind of the area model, basically. First, what I do is I multiply 4 times 10, and I get 40. And then I multiply the 4 times 6. 24, I add them up, 64. Just in case you don't have a calculator and they give you some number you're trying to multiply, there's that right there. -64 is x. There we go. Here's our final answer for that one. And that's all she wrote. That's the whole thing. Look, there's really only, what is it, just 4 questions on this test? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is 5 questions. But that's what you just got to remember. To cube something if it's under the cubed root. Square something if it's under the square root. If you got something squared, you would take a square root to cancel out that exponent of 2. So watch these videos a couple times. Practice answering these questions in the practice test. And good luck, everybody. Have a great week.